Alive, we're still on planet Earth tonight. Brother Hope told me to stand in for him, which I really can't, but we got a warm body here tonight. We are still talking about the tongue. We're talking about Proverbs, but we're going to speak about the tongue tonight. The tongue is going to be our theme tonight. And I'm going to try to skip through some of this because I don't have enough time to perhaps really get to the heart of the matter. Lesson from Solomon. A proper use of the tongues, which is our theme in Proverbs this evening. 90% of the verses that we're going to talk about tonight are going to come from Proverbs. 99% of them. So you'll hear a lot of verses on Proverbs tonight. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life. Proverbs 15, the verses 4. And most of the verses that's quoted tonight, that's read, will be taken from the New King James Version. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness is in it breaks the spirit. Kind words brings life, but cruel words crushes our spirits. Satan used the term not to crush Adam and Eve's spirit, causing them to be driven or expelled out of the Garden of Eve. Genesis 3, the verses 4. And the serpent said to the woman, "Ye shall not surely die." Deceitful tongues damage people. It damages wives, children. It scars reputation. It ruins relationships. And hope has been lost by the tongue of the deceit. Yes, the lying, deceptive tongue. The power of the tongue. Proverbs 18, the verses 21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. The tongue is a powerful tool which can bring life or death to people, and also the one who owns the tongue. Proverbs 13, the verses 3. He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that's open wide his lips shall have destruction. A good mouth protects one from many troubles. A watchful word if you want to stay. Watch your word if you want to stay out of trouble. A hypocrite with his tongue can destroy his neighbors. Proverbs 11, the verses 9. The hypocrite with his mouth destroys his neighbors, but through knowledge the righteous will be delivered. Even when slander, the righteous man knows how to conduct himself in a pleasing manner. Hypocrites breed doubt, distrust, division. The hypocrite destroys friends with their tongue. Many have been discouraged by a cruel tongue, never to rise again. We who know many souls who have been lost due to someone's cruel mouth. We don't know, but God knows who you are. Some individuals have tongues so sharp. Some individuals have tongues as sharp as a sword. Proverbs 12, the verses 18. There's one who speaks like the piercing of a sword, but the tongue of the wise promote health. Solomon is talking about someone who is careless with his words. The term speaketh mean to speak carelessly, thoughtlessly, and angrily. We can deeply hurt people with our careless and angry tongue. Yes, more so than sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That little nursery rhyme that we were taught in school, it really soothed us, but it wasn't much truth to it. We can't recall the words after they have been released from our mouths. One cannot unhear what he has heard. The Lord tells us that we have to give account someday. In Matthew 12, the verses 36, but I say to you that every idle word men may speak, they will give account of it in the day of judgment. Yes, every idle word. The term idle can mean worthless, useless. It can also mean careless, thoughtless. In both cases, the problem of such idle tongue lies not in the tongue, but in the heart and minds of the individuals. If the heart was different, the speech would be different. Others have been revitalized by a timely word. A good word in due season, oh, how sweet it is. Proverbs 15, the verses 26b. The thoughts of the wicked are abomination to the Lord, but the words of the pure are pleasant. It is said not only the deeds here in that verse that I just read, but also the thoughts of the term determine our relationships with God. Thank God for someone who can get a prayer through. Proverbs 15, the verses 8. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but the prayers of the upright is his delight. God looks beyond the outward action of our sacrifice and prayers to see if they really reflect what's in our heart's attitude. Proverbs 21, the verses 27. The sacrifice of the wicked is abomination. How much more when he brings with wicked intent? Others may not know what's in our hearts, but God knows our intentions and our motive. Hebrews 4, the verses 12e and 13. Pleasant words are sweet to the soul. Proverbs 16, the verses 23. Pleasant words are like honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the bone. Sharp and unkind words are also trouble, but the person whose words are pleasant would add a blessing to the person who's down in the spirit. And also, it's good for a healthy body. Truth about the words we speak. The heart of the righteous thinks before he answers, but the wicked speaks out evil things. Proverbs 29:31, the verses 26. The reason why some of this sounds a little funny is because it's the New King James Version. Okay. She opens her mouth with wide wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness. She opens her mouth and speaks wisdom. Kindness is the grace of her lips. She is wise and intelligent and highly cultured in mind and manner. She is graceful and even-tempered in all her ways. There are perhaps few professional women who are not lords over their husband, tyrants over their servants, and stuck up towards her neighbors. She is an excellent example of a meek and quiet spirit, as Peter speaks of in 1 Peter 3. We have to guard our tongue. Proverbs 13:3. He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lip shall have destruction. The control of the tongue is commanded by God in James chapter 3. We have 2 eyes and 2 ears. That should suggest that we should see more than we speak, with 1 tongue fenced in with our teeth. Do you think God is trying to tell us something? We have to keep our souls out of trouble. Proverbs 21, the verses 23. Whosoever guardeth his mouth and tongue keepeth his soul from trouble. This proverb has a play on words to keep. If a person keeps his mouth, he preserves his soul. Many troubles are brought on us because we bring them on ourselves by careless speech. And as they said in World War II, loose lips sink ships, but I say loose lips sink souls, if you please. Solomon said that there is a time for everything. Solomon said there is a time to speak and a time to shut me mouth. I know you wish I would. And be silent. Ecclesiastic 3, the verses 7. A time to tear and a time to sow. A time to keep silent and a time to speak. Psalms 39, the verses 1 and 2. I said, I will guard my ways, lest I sin with my mouth. I would refrain my mouth with a muzzle while the wicked are before me. I kept my mouth shut. I held my peace even from good, and my sorrow was stirred up. We need to control our tongue at all times, but especially when we are among non-Christians. They watch us for any flaw or failure, and then they exploit our flaws, our failure, and because they want to bring shame on the church. We must think before we answer, Proverbs 15 and 28. The heart of the righteous studies how to answer, but the mouth of the wicked fears God. Speech reveals character. A man says who and what he is. Proverbs 14, the verse is 5. A faithful witness does not lie, but a false witness utters lies. A person can tell the quality of a testimony concerning the character of the witness. That's why lawyers try to tear down the character of the witness of the opposing lawyer. Proverbs 10, the verses 20. The tongue of the righteous is choice silver. The hearts of the wicked is worth little. When a just man speaks, is like silver, but what comes out of his heart of the wicked man is like worthless dross. When the wicked man speaks, It's absolutely worthless. Listen to what the lazy man is lying about. Proverbs 26, the verse is 13. The lazy man said, there is a lion in the road, a fierce lion in the streets. A lazy man will lie and use this as an excuse for laziness. There is a lion in the streets, so he must stay inside because the invisible lion will kill him. Question to consider before we open our mouths. I'll stop right here for now. Is there anyone who want to say anything about the tongue that's on their minds at this point? Any statements about the tongue that you can think of? We open our mouth. Is it right or is it wrong? Proverbs 20, the verse is 11. Even a child knows by his deeds when he does what is right or what is wrong. A child's action makes it clear whether what he does is honest or upright. Even a child knows by what he does as he behaves well or that he doesn't behave well. You can tell by the character of a child early in life by his conduct. Now I realize there's always exception to the rule, but it is a good mirror into his or her future. If they don't let the devil snatch the goodness from their heart that their parents have instilled in them. Proverbs 22, the verse is 6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. When we open our mouths, I thought I saw a hand, when we open our mouths is the kind of generation, kind of generous. If we open our mouth, is it kind or is it generous? Examples, Joseph spoke kindly to his brothers, and Genesis 50, the verses 20 through 21. But as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, in order to bring about, as in this day, to save many people alive. Now, therefore, do not be afraid. I will provide for you and your little ones. And he comforted them, and he spoke kindly to them. What a man of God he was. And now, what an example of this virtuous woman that we're about to read here. Proverbs 31 and 26. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and of her tongue is the law of kindness. This her virtue are not only industrious. Wisdom and kindness and nobility are hers, not the characteristic of a lazy person. These characteristics are typical of the book of Proverbs. Listen, it caps it off by the fact that she feareth the Lord. Her being superficial does not get you God's praises. Proverbs 31, the verses 30. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. What is desired is a kind man. Proverbs 19, the verses 22. What is desired is a man is kindness. A poor man is better than a liar, The Proverbs say it is better to have an honest compassion for people and not being able to help than to have a lying compassion for people and not help, even though you are able. Moving on. When we open our mouths, are we speaking appropriately? Proverbs 15, the verses 22. A man has joy by the answers of his mouth. A word spoken in due season, how good it is. A common tongue is both a happy tongue and a helpful tongue. A person has joy by the answers of his mouth. How we use our tongue has more to do with our personal happiness. Much sorrow and aggravations come from the results of the tongue, for good or for evil. Proverbs 25 and 11. A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in settings of silver. Fitly words are portrayed here as a beautiful words. A case for fitting words is the wise correction of a person who has erred from his ways. A few choice words are better than many unpleasant words. I saw a lady in the store and I was buying some food. I was getting something for my lunch that day. And I looked over at her. She seemed somewhat troubled. I said, "It doesn't hurt to smile." She didn't say a word. And as I was getting other things, later she passed by me and she was smiling and said, "Can you find everything all right?" I said, "Yes." It made my day, and I believe it made her day too. Sometimes small gestures go a long ways. It doesn't hurt to be pleasant to people, does it? Proverbs 25, the verses 20. Like one who tears away a garment in cold weather, and like vinegar on soda is one who sings songs to a heavy heart. Insensitive people causes discomfort to others. They can be irritating as vinegar poured over soda. We need to develop the quality of sensitivity and empathy. I see a lot of that here, and I'm impressed with it. I've been impressed with this church ever since the day we came. Y'all impressed me. You love your members, and you show it by your actions. When you open your mouth, are we calm when we speak? Proverbs 15, the verses 1. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. We should always remember, in most cases, unkind words provoke, but gentle words come. This well-known proverb provides the simplest and the most practical means of avoiding conflict in homes, in church, and in society. The tongue has the power to produce great good and also evil. A gentle answer comes from a gentle, kind heart. A kind heart is a humble heart. First, make the heart right, the tongue can be made right. Proverbs 16, the verses 23. The hearts of the wise teaches his mouth and adds learning to his lips. Simply said, your mind tell your mouth what to say. When we open our mouths, are our words few? Proverbs 10, the verses 19. In the multitude of word, sin is not light, but he who restrains his lips is wise. Solomon Daddy put it this way. Psalms 39:1. I said, I will guard my ways, lest I sin with my lips or my tongue. I will restrain my mouth with a muzzle while the wicked are before me. David was deciding not to speak out, especially in the presence of the wicked people. For he feared that he might say something that would bring shame on God's people. The word bridle that he used means muzzle. Muzzle is more severe than bridle. Muzzle meant that the psalmist would not speak a word. He would keep his tongue silent. Silence is praise in the scripture. Even a fool, when he holds his peace, is counted wise. And he who shutters his lip is valued as a man of understanding. Proverbs 17, the verse is 28. Let us not be a contributor to gossip. Where there is no wood, the fire goes out. And where there is no telltale or tale-bearer, strife cease. The gossiper and those who listen to the gossip are agents of strife. If no one receives the gossip, it will automatically die. Finally, let us not be coals for the gossip. Proverbs 26, the verses 21. Charcoal is to the burning coal, and wood to the fire. So it is contentious man to kindle strife. It is impossible for an argument to start where there is no argumentative person, as it is for fire to start without coal. I'd like to tell you a story. Please listen closely. The danger of gossip. It kills reputation. It kills relationship. A small town family was filled with happiness and love in spite of the young mother's poor health since her second child. The small town gossip started an untrue rumor about her husband being unfaithful to his wife. And one day she heard the story, sick and in despair, because she believed the gossip. She took the lives of her 2 children and then her own. When her husband came home that evening, he found the 3 of them hanging from the basement beam. Gossip can kill people. Let us be careful what we say. Again, how's your tongue? Let us keep it in check. I appreciate everyone. I know I bored you to death, but Proverbs says Proverbs, and it's a lot of good stuff there. One thing you'll get from this lesson, that we need to control our tongue. Watch what we say. Watch how we treat people. We can just not only just say things, it's the way you look at folk sometimes. We can talk with our eyes. We can talk with our body language. All that speaks volume. Sometimes that speaks more volume than what one say or do. Any statements? Anything on tongues tonight? Nothing? You're free to go.